document, questions about youth cooperatives. It was really exciting to have all these questions together in one place, so thanks for doing that. We were able to follow up on one major aspect of these, which was the legal issues. So I sent an email to a lawyer that I know in Boston asking them about this issue about the about youth being shareholders in cooperatives. And so she sent me back this. So basically, and a couple of interesting things that she said. So, so legally, people under 18 can own shares in a corporation, right? But anyone under the age of 18 isn't bound by contracts they sign, right? So if somebody under the age of 18 signs a contract with a vendor, and the vendor doesn't like your work and they sue you, it's a lot of things happen besides people suing each other, but I don't really know much about what they are. Let's just say they sue you. You can't really sue somebody under 18 for signing a contract. Like, they're not going to be held responsible. The problem is, you know who might be held responsible? Their parents. Their parents, and potentially you guys as the nonprofit sponsoring organizations.
Right.
So, let's see. So she says this is why corporations generally don't take people under 18 as shareholders. So let's see. She says usually if somebody under 18 owns shares in a corporation, there's a trustee or a guardian that votes on their behalf and manages the investment. The other thing that happens is she says there could be tax consequences as well. So if somebody under 18 gets dividends or patronage dividends from their ownership share in the cooperative, then if they're claimed as a dependent of their parents might have to pay taxes on that income. And that's a thing that can be really disruptive to the family finances if you're not expecting that, right?
Do you know what the cutoff for that is? Isn't there a certain level that you're allowed to make before?
10,000 for somebody else. I think a high school student is 10,000.
And that's wages, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean patronage dividends would probably count as wages, but not necessarily. And oh yeah, that's what she says. There are exclusions for a minor's income up to a certain amount. The rest would be taxed to the parents. Although she says the contract issue is really the bigger one. So we don't really exactly have answers. We kind of have more questions, right? So what are the more questions that this brings up?
So do agreements you enter into before the age of majority, once you reach the age of majority, do they suddenly become legally binding the way they were before, or are they all?
They're not.
They're still invalid. You have to re-sign everything.
You know, it's from the. I might be speaking out of him, but I was asked to sign a lot of contracts as a high school student for a local business that I worked for that I shall not name, and then was told by a lawyer afterward that it was a non-competition contract. So it was saying that when I quit, I couldn't work in a similar business for a certain number of years because of proprietary ingredients for coffee. It was the bean counter. Anyways, a lawyer person told me that not only that I couldn't be held responsible for that contract, but then I did keep working there until I was 20, and it doesn't matter. You sign that when you were 60 years old. You'd have to sign it again because it's the date you signed it.
So now we can start a business with Coop?
Yeah, so I can work at Starbucks.
So now
All right.
So what is an Ethiopian coffee?
All right. We're over time.
It's like opium.
Read between the lines.
So this is really a conundrum, right? For people under 18.
So what, in terms of what could the trustee or guardian be? Is there something legal or accountable that could serve as that?
Okay. Yeah.
That would be my question.
I think that is the next really good question. Who is the guardian or trustee of those signatures? So could somebody under 18 legally own the share and vote kind of by proxy through an organization that makes this all safe and legal for them?
So maybe we need new laws.
We might. Yeah.
Do you think that somebody within the organization could be their trustee, or would it have to be like an external?
I think this is what we have to go back and ask her again.
That would be my question. Could like you have a sponsor within the organization that was over 18 that could be your trustee?
That's not apparent.
It's not a parent, yeah.
Yeah.
And also doesn't have like
It's not-
vested interest. Yeah. It'd have to be also, someone neutral in some way.
Yeah. I think that at some point the lawyer's going to say we don't actually know the answer to these questions. And, the stuff hasn't actually been tested.
I guess another one with that is, would it be, do you need one trustee per youth involved, or could one person act as trustee or representative or
Opens up
whatever?
all kinds of issues.
Huge tax liability.
We just somehow have like twice the vote.
Yeah, and would that trustee?
I said yes,
have
I
all
know.
children?
Yes, I know.
So what did I say?